What's happening, legends? Welcome back to the Becoming Reborn podcast. We've got a short, sharp one for you today.
Ooh.
And what's it going to be about? Paddy, it's going to be about why the boring stuff wins.
Yeah. Why the basics win. Do the boring work.
Just
You
do
mix
it.
both of those. Well done.
We've had some
Trav?
interesting conversations in the last 3-4 minutes. So
Yeah,
mine's
that's okay.
elsewhere.
Well, we'll keep it with PG.
Yeah.
For the podcast. Travis, just straight off the bat, why do the basics win?
Because I'm going to use footy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's the basics of learning how to pass a ball, to step, to run, like all those simple things. They're the base of what you need to know how to play football at any level. And if you can nail the basics, you can grow off that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're too busy worrying about the flick pass and the banana kicks, the basics are going to get left behind, and so are you.
Now, bringing this back to a health perspective.
Yep.
It's amazing how many health issues or concerns that people get in their life. And then when they go see their doctor or they research it or they see a specialist and they get told what they have to do to either reduce the impact of it or to stop it happening, how often the answer is exactly the same. Exercise 3 or 4 times a week, get 7 or 8 hours of sleep, drink enough water, eat fruit and veg.
What about protein?
Yeah, eat enough protein as well.
How many scoops?
2 scoops for me daily, thanks, with creatine.
Yeah, that's why his shoulders are massive.
Thank you so much.
We had to get a bigger camera for it.
Okay. So there's 4 or 5 basics that you need to do for almost every facet of your health.
And how
And
complicated?
they are boring as shit.
Oh, so boring. But how complicated do we make it in this world?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to have a lemon detox and put a sprinkle of salt in it, and then you can only have it between these periods, and make sure you do this. Like, guys.
But let's think about why. Like why we try and complicate it. 2 things. First of all, the advice that I just gave then and there, I'm not making money off that. And I'm not getting attention from
It's not that sexy either.
No. So I'm not getting attention
I
from
don't
that.
find a lemon detox sexy either, but anyways.
So there's the 2 things. It's not interactive and it's not attractive. So you don't get attention from it and it doesn't make money, the basics. So that's why you'll often see, especially on social media, people coming up with these new things you need to do for your health, like your lemon detox or the 78 million other things that people come up with. Because if there's a different way to do things, people are more attracted to it or at least interested in it. And the second thing, obviously, is people try and sell you these things to make money.
Make it sound like they got the secret sauce.
Exactly. Whereas eating 5 serves of fruit and veg is boring as shit. And if I encourage people to do it, I can't make money off it.
No. So what are the boring things you think that people should be nailing, Patrick, in life?
Sleep. 7 hours minimum.
Wow. Isn't that underrated?
Yeah. It's so underrated. That leads into
everything.
It impacts everything in your life.
It even impacts it. Pat, you can give the data if you got any data, but I know you've got some knowledge around this area. When you have a lack of sleep, how does it affect your eating?
Yes. It impacts 2 hormones, ghrelin and leptin.
I knew you were going to nerd out.
And the 2 things are ghrelin is it tells you when you're hungry, and leptin, it tells you when you're full, and it throws them out. So even if you're not hungry, if you haven't had enough sleep, you're going to feel more hungry. Also, when you haven't had enough sleep, you're not going to feel full when you normally do. So you could eat and your stomach can be full, but you don't feel full. So it encourages you to eat more.
Perfect. So the first one is sleep. What's your second basic thing you really reckon people should know? I'm just throwing this all to you, by the way. I apologize.
That's fine. Now, this is going to sound health and fitness related, but it's not because this is your entire life. And the second one, without a doubt, is movement or exercise. Like that's just one of the big rocks in your life of making sure that you exercise or at least move daily, but specifically exercise 4 times a week.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, Patrick. You know how me and Wags we're coming up with like, a habit tracker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, what can we do that can be for 7 days. And it's as simple as that. Move your body. And
Yep.
it might be as simple as going for a walk in the morning. I know I'm kind of going off a bit of a tangent and back onto routine and structure, but if you were to, let's just use morning people. If you were to train at 6 a.m. every single morning, like even if you're not going to the gym on a Tuesday, go for a walk at 6 a.m.
Yes.
And on the Wednesday, so let's just say you're not going to the gym then either. You might do a stretch, right? But if you can consistently do some sort of movement at the same time, it's going to be so beneficial for you long term as well.
Can I throw another sleep fact in?
Yeah, I love a good sleep factor.
So
Factor.
it's recommended that you
Yeah.
should sleep between 7 to 9 hours a night.
If you are a hit 7+, we're like,
Yeah, wild.
We're
So I don't think there's too many people out there that it's like, oh, damn, I'm sleeping too much. Like, oh, I've got to keep it under 9. So I generally say to people, aim to sleep for 7 hours because not many people are overshooting their sleep because lives are so busy at the moment. If you sleep for 6 hours a night, so it's only that 1 hour difference. Now, keeping in mind, this is sleep. This isn't just the time you're in bed. This is how long you're asleep for. So Trav and I have got a Whoop that we wear consistently. And often if you're in
Sure
bed
do.
for 8 hours,
Big
you
nerds.
might be awake for about 45 minutes during that. So often a lot of people are asleep for about 45 minutes to an hour less than what they're in bed for. So if you're in bed for 7 hours, you're probably sleeping closer to 6. So people that sleep 6 hours a day as opposed to 7 hours a day for 2 weeks, they tested this, had the same levels of testosterone as someone 10 years older than them.
that sucks.
So right now I'm 39 years old. And if I'm sleeping for 6 hours, I've got similar levels of testosterone as someone who's 49 years old. So you talk about like premature aging and people that feel like they're 35 and they feel 45 and they get injured a lot and they find their metabolism slows and they put on weight and they're a lot more sluggish. A lot of these things are related to testosterone in your body. And these days you see a lot of people going on steroids and peptides and getting testosterone injections to kind of boost those levels. If you're not living the life the way you should, I'll rephrase that. You can naturally get your testosterone levels and health back to a normal level without having to go to a doctor or some dodgy bloke and inject it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And this isn't a sleep podcast, so I'll leave these two little facts. That's from the Why We Sleep. Why We Sleep?
Yep, by Matthew Walker. Great book. Read it.
Tough read though.
Yeah.
It literally puts you to sleep.
Nice.
But thanks. There was two things that really stood out for me in that book is that there is a correlation between lack of sleep and dementia.
Yep.
And then the next one, early at premature death as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was really scary. It's like almost like if you're not getting sleep now, it's going to put you to sleep earlier.
And that's all-cause mortality, meaning dying from anything.
Yeah.
It just speeds it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Travis. A quick question. So we're talking about why the basics are so important in health, in fitness, in life, in business. Why do people abandon the basics so quickly?
I think it's because of the world we live in. It's not sexy. That's what I keep kind of coming back to in my mind. And it's like everyone thinks that there is this secret recipe to success where it's like, no, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. Like I liken it to, when people always were like, oh, we want more variations in our exercises. Like there's like 9 exercises in total that we use 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Just nail them and you will get the results. It's similar to that, right? It's like people constantly need to be thinking they need to reinvent the wheel, but it's like, hey, if you just nail the basic things over and over and over again, that's where success comes from.
Can I throw another reason in there? I think, and I'm going to throw back to you with a question on the back of this. You're so welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
Is why I think people often abandon the basics is because they don't give fast, huge results.
Yes.
Like
Instant
they're often the
gratification.
things where, like if you go to and yes, we're often relating this back to health and fitness, but this is in everything in your life. If you go to the gym for a week and then you look in the mirror, you're not going to see any difference. If you go to the gym for 2 weeks, look in the mirror, you're not going to see much difference, any difference. 3 weeks, same thing. You go to the gym every week for 12 months, you could be unrecognizable in 12 months' time. You're not going to get that in the first few weeks. So, Trav, talk to us about delayed gratification and trusting the process and how important that is.
You know what I was thinking of when you were just explaining that was when you explained to me stocks.
Yes, investing.
Yeah. And I will answer your question, but do you remember you told me a stat around if you were to invest, I think it was like $50 a week. Do you remember this stat that I'm about to say?
It might be slightly different,
You-
but
you-
I'll roll with it.
Yeah.
If you invest, I actually had this chat not long ago with Bria, who's 20, 21.
21.
If you invest $100 a week, or it doesn't even matter the time, how much, right? If you invest $100 a week from between the ages of 20 and 30 and stop at 30, and then your friend invests $50 a week or 100, whatever I said before, from the age of 30 to 60, who's got more money at the age of 60?
Bria.
Yeah, Bria, even though she only invested for 10 years, right? And the other person invested for 30 years, but it's because she did it earlier, that compound interest pays off so that there's more money there, even though there's like a third of it that actually got invested. So the things that you do now, whether they are positive or negative, pay dividends later down the track.
But how boring is that, right?
Exactly.
It is so boring.
And I deal with that because I sit with
Yeah.
Bria every week and I'm like, all right, it's time to invest. And she's like, oh, like another $100 came out of my
Yeah,
account.
and you don't see.
It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, and she's looked at it, and obviously in the last couple of months, the share market's taken a tank because Trump's decided to go all gung ho.
I remember the first 2 years that we invested, we were doing those investments. More, like, I don't think I remember seeing it ever go up in that whole time.
Yeah.
But then it just went the other way.
Trust the process.
Yeah, trust the process.
And you look back, again, specifically with the stock market, is like you look back over the last 100 years and you see that, yes, there's times when it's up and there's times when it's down, but gradually the trend is up. And that's the same with your health, and that's the same with your business, and that's the same with your relationships. Like, if you put the time in, yes, in the short term, you don't often see an immediate result, but play the long game.
Play the long game, baby.
Trust the process.
Tell you what, like, I love playing the long game. I love it. I feel like I live two different lives because everything that I did pre-rehab was all about the short and sharp instant gratification. Everything that I've done since rehab is like playing the long game. Like, you know, what is this going to look like when I'm 30? All right, I'm 30, but then what does it look like when I'm 40? Well, all right, then what does it look like when I'm 50? Like, having the ability to just see the long game and then to be able to trust in the process, like you were saying before, it just makes things so much easier for you, like right now, but even more so later on. Now, getting back to your question of like, why do people struggle with it? I think it comes back to, we've said this a few times, that comparison is the thief of joy. And it's a similar kind of mindset, right? In social media, everyone's highlight reel. So they see others people doing, and they're doing it in 6 months.
Yeah.
Or they're doing it in 6 days or whatever it might be. You know, they're doing it in a third of the time that it normally takes. And they sit there and they see that and they're like, well, I should be doing that. Whereas just focus on you. Just focus on you. And if it doesn't look sexy on Instagram, fuck it. Doesn't matter. If it's going to benefit you in the long term, just keep focusing on that. So I think that a lot of it comes from the comparison.
All right. Controversial one here, Travis.
Yeah, hit me.
And it's hard without specific context here and just throwing a general one. But how long should someone stick to a plan before changing? Because there is the thought that, what did Einstein say? Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If someone has something in their life where it's like, no, I just need to be consistent and play the long game, and they continue doing these things and they're not seeing a result, when do you call quits?
Yeah, and you got to be tracking your progress
It's
as
a
well
hard one.
to make sure that you're doing it. There's a lot of ways you can skin a cat with that one.
Yeah, like if I look like fat loss, for example, if someone's got a specific training plan that they're sticking to, and maybe a flexible diet or some kind of eating variation that they're sticking to, and they do it for a week,
Nothing.
don't lose weight, do it for 2 weeks, actually put on a bit of weight, do it for a third week, not losing any weight. And it's like, yeah, play the long game, like keep doing the right things, but you might not know what those right things are.
Yeah, you got to. That's a process of elimination, right? And figure out what is the problem, and then making changes to that problem as well. That's a tough one though, Patty. Everything's different, right? In terms of a personal training, right? You could probably go after 4 weeks, assess, and then not necessarily going to know the answers, but you can make minor changes, and then it might be another 4 weeks after that where you can see the full results. But everyone's going to be different.
I've probably just thought of a suggestion there if you're in that position is find someone in that industry that is either an expert or they've got runs on the board and ask their advice. Like from a business perspective as well. Like it's easy with fitness, right?
Yeah.
But from a business
It's
perspective,
very hard.
like, because how long were we grinding when we were back at the old gym and seeing very little results? And we had times when we questioned ourselves of like, far out, like, are we doing the right thing? And in those situations, it could probably be beneficial to find someone who has done what you are hoping to do and ask their advice and say, look, these are the things I'm doing. Like, I'm digging in, I'm being consistent with it. I'm not seeing the results yet. I'm happy to keep going down this path, but is there something I'm missing, or am I doing the wrong kind of things? Because there's no point continuing to go down a path and doing more and more of the same things if they're not the things that are moving the needle forward.
Yeah.
Find a mentor or an expert in that field and ask their advice and run them through your plan. And they might change things, or they might look at it and go, you know what? You're doing everything right. This is just going to take a lot longer than you expect.
Yeah.
And that's often the answer, isn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty much what we were doing. We were like, why isn't this happening right now? We're doing everything right. But we later on figured out like it was delayed gratification.
It takes time.
Yeah.
And often, especially in business, the level of success where it's high or whether it's really low that you're having right now is often determined by the things that you're doing between 3 and 6 months ago. So you can have a time when you're absolutely flying and you're doing jack shit, but it's because of all the hard work you did, and vice versa, which is where we were in the position where you're doing everything right, but like from a gym perspective, there's more and more cancellations happening every week. And it's like, what the hell? We're doing everything right. And it's like, no, but this is impacted from the previous 6 months.
Yeah.
All right. Great point that we often get hung up on a bit here, Travis, is around doing the basics and doing them well. Discipline versus motivation.
Yeah.
What's the difference? What's more important?
Well, discipline, I feel like it's something that can be instilled in you long term, and it's about consistency. Motivation is fickle and only comes in fleeting moments.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you once this week where I've been motivated, but I've been disciplined every single day and had to train and turn up every single time. And the difference is discipline is what develops resilience and the ability to believe in yourself, which in like, of course, it grows your confidence as well. So the difference between the two is I believe that discipline is long term and then motivation is short.
What do you do on days you don't feel like it?
I still get up and are you talking specifically about training?
No.
Everything? Yeah.
You know what? I'd probably lean more towards business.
I still get up and do the job that I'm meant to do. There is days where I was actually thinking about this morning. I'm like, I've been off all week. I haven't got things done to the level of standard that I would expect out of myself, but I still held a high standard. But I'm like, okay, after this week, it's a half week. I was a bit off this week, right? So I still got my things done, but I know next week I'm actually going to double back and make sure that I got everything done correctly. But all week, I've just made sure I've turned up. I've had my to-do list, and I've got those things done. And it matters most on the days when you're at your worst compared to the days when you're at your best. So if I know that I can still turn up on my worst days and I can still get things done, then it gives me more confidence on those days when I'm ready to rock and roll. So no matter what, always turn up and get it done.
So rugby league analogy.
Yeah.
Be more of a Cameron Smith, less of a Jared Hayne.
Yeah.
Aim for the 7 to 8 out of 10s instead of having some 10 out of 10s, but then also 2s on the other side.
It's not sustainable.
Tell me, because you did this, how do you build discipline from scratch? Because you were not a very disciplined person pre-rehab. You came back, you had to build your life from scratch, you had to build your gym from scratch, but mainly that came from you having to build discipline from scratch.
Small wins along the way. So rather than trying to climb the mountain on day one, just take one step at a time. And along the way, looking back and reflecting on the journey that you've been on and what you've achieved as well. But it's honestly just small wins end over end, just little wins, and then they just stack up.
How do you do that when they're not flashy and that's the boring shit and everyone else is doing flashy stuff?
I suppose for me personally, it was a little bit flashy to me because all I wanted to be was a normal person. And so like little things like getting up at 5:30 a.m., right? Sounds wild to us now, but like just like getting up early before the sun was up, it just makes it that was flashy to me. Like doing those things were I put them on a pedestal. So I don't know, Patty, like if it's not seen as flashy to you, then how do you make it flashy is what I'd ask that question, because those things were exciting to me. Like literally having, this sounds really silly, but going to the cafe on a Saturday or Sunday morning, I've talked to you about this, haven't I?
Yeah.
Is like, was like a highlight for me, because instead of me being caught up in someone's like lounge room, standing around a plate, I'd be having lunch, having breakfast, sorry, on a Saturday or Sunday morning. That to me was like, oh.
Because you said you used to there was times when you'd be coming home and you'd see people at a cafe eating breakfast and you were still going from the night before.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck.
And you were like, that's a completely different world. And then you were then living that world.
Yeah, it's the worst when I lived on the wall and like,
At Cronulla.
yeah, Cronulla, and then you just see everyone running on like a Saturday and Sunday morning. Oh, yuck. But yeah, sorry, kind of getting back to what you asked me, how do you develop discipline? It becomes from small wins, done consistently, and then what happens is you're going back to the stocks. It's just compounds interest. Like you kind of look back through every 3 months, like shit, look what I've achieved, and then it's like, all right, I know that. It's just brick by brick. Really simple.
You know what I find, going specifically with the investing thing, is what I find pleasing and what helps. It's very hard to see the results, right? But I've got on the app that I use to invest, and I still do to this day, which is Superhero. It's an investing app. As soon as you open it up, it's got like your account balance. I'm just going through it on my phone now, and it's got the graph of like, and you can zoom out to like a year, and you're seeing it just looks like a little ladder, like gradually climbing up and up and up, and that's heaps motivating for me, because it's very hard when doing the boring things consistently over a long period of time. It's very hard seeing the improvement, because each individual improvement in every day or every week is so minute you almost don't notice it. But then when you look back 12 months later, there's a huge shift.
You just kind of triggered something for me there. I think having some sort of tracker is really helpful. Wags, this year, he credits his success in terms of not only his physical, he's lost 7 kilos in the last 8 weeks, but how he's developed himself in terms of a leader, and how he has been able to be so productive at work is his habit tracker. And it might be something like that. See, like someone, for me, that graph that he makes, that's hot stuff. Like I look at that and I nerd right out. So that's maybe how you make it flashy, Paddy.
I like that.
And you just tick things off daily.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right. Got some final questions for you, Travis. What's one thing in terms of mastering the boring? What's one thing that listeners can implement today?
God, I sound like a broken record. If you haven't already, like, write down a planner. Like I've said it so many times, but that would be the number one thing. If you want to master, like I did it this morning. I sit down and it takes me about an hour and a half to plan my week out the next week. So I've got to brainstorm the things that I've got to go through. I've got to think about what does each step look like for that and then the next 3, right? But it works. So mine would be, if you haven't already, start writing down what you want to do the next week, every single week.
My suggestion here is remember and link the boring habit to the end goal.
Yeah.
What is it? That's the end goal that you want to achieve, because the boring habit, they're often shit, right? But doing that on its own and only thinking about that small thing that you're doing isn't very motivating. But when doing that, thinking about the end result and why you're doing it makes that heaps more attractive.
Just a quick one, and no, I'm not attacking my wife here, but how I can compare, like what you were just saying then, right? I write down my planner every week, and Chloe almost like rolls her eyes that I write down on my planner what I'm going to do every single week, right? Yeah, so now you're attacking her. Now,
come on, boys.
Respectfully, we all have our times where we're flustered for time. Chloe it feels like flustered for time 80% of the time. Yes, she is a mum. Yes, and I can hear all the mums and all the women out there just going, oh, Trav, you're doing different things. Yes, understandably, but there is things that are you can be productive and be in front of rather than just being reactive with everything, right? I feel like for Chloe, 80% of the time she's just reactive. 20% of the time
I
she's
think she craves that
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
Anyway, keep
Same.
going.
And then on the opposite, right? 80% of the time I'm structured. And I look like I have a lot more time than Chloe all the time, and she gets frustrated with that. But it's just because I have a planner. And I think that's the biggest difference. You look at both of us, and we're both very, very busy. But there's one person that feels quite comfortable in their time, and then one that feels like they never have enough time.
Now, in terms of doing the boring work, what's one excuse that our listeners need to drop immediately?
I think going back to that, I don't know if this is an excuse, but it's almost like, oh, it's not working. The instant gratification. I think they've got to drop the, oh, it didn't work, so I'm just going to go back to doing such and such. Well, if that didn't work, why are you doing?
Put the time in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll leave it there.
Last question. Where will someone be in 12 months if they don't change?
It's that exact same position, if not worse. That right there makes me feel sick, right? And we talk about this. Imagine sitting here and being in the exact same position next year. Like, I love the fact, and it happens every year now, that I look back on what I was doing 12 months ago and I think, you were an idiot. Why were you doing all those things? And it's like, there's so many things that you learn over 12 months and how much growth you have. I think sitting in the same position year after year makes me feel really uncomfortable. And that's kind of what drives me, is I always want to get better. But if you don't make a decision today to better your life, and you're still in the same position, you got no one to blame but yourself. You are the direct reflection of your own actions.
I can finish on that line. Well done.
In your face. Sorry, it's a bit aggressive. Anyways, guys,
at the end there,
till next time. Peace.